Guys, I'm finally at Etihad Stadium, just minutes away to getting into Etihad Stadium, the home of Manchester City. It starts at 2, so I'm just early and right on time. So once I get inside there, we're gonna be seeing the action as it unfolds. Yeah, Etihad Stadium, here I come. It's coming up nicely. Above the city. New stadium, roof walk experience. See that, guys? Once the construction is over, this is what will be happening. So let's see what is here for us.
you recording? Yeah. Okay. You're a City fan, correct? Good. Watching here. 3, 2, 1, City. Perfect. Come through, yeah. Here we go. Still recording.
Thank you.
What time is your tour?
2
o'clock. Okay, have a seat, yeah.
Thank you, man. So guys, there we are, ready for the dream. So this is the lounge where visitors get ushered into and wait for their turn to be taken for a tour into the stadium. I always feel nice when I go somewhere and I experience some love, and that is what I've experienced from the staff here, right from the reception, right from the door. These guys are just amazing, lovely people. So let's see how it goes. Guys, I'm just about to begin my tour now, so we're checking in. Just looking forward to having an amazing experience. Dream come true, guys. From the TV screen in the living room to the real deal right here at Etihad Stadium, guys. Let's do this. Just past the reception, this is what you see. Yeah, prominent figures. Fully armed to bring you the action.
So go ahead and take a look up there. It's a little bit about the history of the club and how we got here today. So go ahead and take a look up there and enjoy. So you come follow me, let's head on in. Come on in, everybody. Go ahead, fill up this row here. So welcome to the Etihad. So my name's Addison. We got Harry in the back here. We're going to be your tour guides today. We're super excited to take you all around the stadium. Hopefully you all are just as excited to see the stadium today. We got to start off with the boring part of the tour. Got to start off with the ground rules, right? So we ask you please no eating, drinking, or smoking on tour, except for water. Water is okay. Just have the lid nice and tight for me, please. Also, there's no chewing gum on tour. We have found chewing gum in the home team changing room a few times, and Pep does not like that. So we cannot have chewing gum on tour. So if you hear a fire alarm, we're not expecting one today, but if you do hear one, it is actual emergency. Just stick with Harry and I. We'll get out of the stadium nice and safely. Like I said, not expecting one though. And then is everybody okay with stairs? Beautiful. And then very, very strict rule. It's the last rule we have, but it's very, very strict, very, very important. When it comes to photography, you can take as many photos as you'd like, but you have to look good in them, all right? Make sure you're looking good in those photos, whatever you need to do. So, who are our City fans here? I see a good amount of blue. All right, good amount of hands, but I didn't see everybody's hand up. So, those of you who didn't raise your hand, what of the clubs are we a fan of?
Sunderland.
Sunderland, awesome. Welcome. Well, welcome. Sorry, there was one in the back that I didn't hear. Newcastle? We're okay with Newcastle for the moment. We'll see what happens. Any other clubs? Any United fans?
Yeah.
He's got a Man City shirt on, so even if he is a fan, you know, we're turning him to the right direction.
This was my only plane, so I have to wear.
Well, well, I think we're gonna start changing you over too to Man City. What was that back there? A United fan with a City top on. All right. Well, we're the three of you. The goal is to make sure the three of you are City fans at the end of this. All right. But no, welcome. Everybody's welcome here at the Etihad, regardless who you support. We like to show off this beautiful stadium that we have. You know, a lot of other clubs, you know, they want to know what a good stadium looks like. So they come on over and they take a look at this stadium. So we'll start off with a little history of the stadium. So it first opened in 2002. First it was not used for football, it was used for the Commonwealth Games. So if you don't know, the Commonwealth Games are like a mini Olympics, but just for the Commonwealth of Great Britain. So it was here in 2002, and this stadium specifically was used for athletics. So it needs to have a running track, right? But as you can see, we don't have a running track anymore. So if you want to point, where do you think the running track was back in 2002? What's that? Maybe around the pitch? That's how I first thought it was around the pitch when I got here. It actually was above your head. This black LED banner that goes all the way around the face of the second tier, that is the edge of the running track. That is ground level there. Now, what we did, Harry and I, between 2002 and 2003, we dug down about 6.5 meters to not only place the pitch where it is today, but also build this whole lower bowl, adding 10,000 seats. Now, we took all that dirt, all that rubbish, and we dropped it off in the largest landfill in the UK, commonly known as Old Trafford. Figure they're used to rubbish over there, they won't mind. But, like I said, became the only Premier League team that has a below ground pitch, and adding these seats, bringing our total seating capacity to just about 54,000 seats. Now, that is a lot of bananas, but that's not big enough for us. As you can see, there's a lot of construction that's going on behind me. What they're doing is currently adding 7,000 seats to our north stands over there. That's going to bring our total seating capacity to 61,000 seats. Now, you may think it's going to look like 3 tiers like you see on both sides. It won't. It'll still remain 2 tiers to have a blue menacing wall on the second tier. Similar to like Dortmund has, but ours is going to be better because it's going to be blue. So we're very excited for that because once you reach 60,000 seats, that unlocks new opportunities for UEFA and FIFA standards. Anybody happen to know any of those opportunities? You're gonna have to speak up, my man. Don't know? Well, that's okay, I'll tell you. So, the Champions League. Has anybody ever watched the Champions League? You know, it happens every now and again, right? Kind of popular. So, to host the Champions League final, you do need to have 60,000 seats. So, the plan is to get over 60,000, not only host the Champions League, but win the Champions League here in Manchester. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Now, we'll figure that out in due time, but we have already been selected as one of the host stadiums for the 2028 Euros. So obviously the Euros that happened a few months ago in Germany, it'll be in the UK and Ireland in 2028, and we are a quarterfinal stadium. So we're very excited for all of that. Now, other things that they're adding into that construction project, as you can see there's a lot going on outside. It's gonna be a new hotel, over 400 bedrooms. There's gonna be a covered fan zone, kind of create the game time atmosphere outside of the stadium. There's gonna be a new museum, a new city store, even a rooftop walk. So come on back, fall of 2026, it should all be done. I'll give you a tour of the roof. It'll be a lot of fun, right? Now that's what the stadium is going to look like. We wanna know what's currently in the stadium, right? So we'll do a quick little circle around the stadium, starting off where we are in the south stands. So you have these bars that are in front of you and behind you, right? They're kind of weird. Well, these are safe standing seats. Currently in the Premier League and in the Championship League, you cannot stand during a match. So there's been too many instances of people falling forward, people falling backward, people getting hurt. So us and a few other clubs around the UK have installed these rails to obviously prevent those disasters from happening. It's a lot harder to fall when you got a literal bar in front of you, right? It's on a trial process. If it goes well, we'll get it everywhere around the stadium. If it doesn't, we'll figure something else out. Now to your right here, you have these silver railings that run parallel to the steps. So in between those, that's our away section. So we do allocate 3,000 seats for our away fans on all 3 tiers. And it's similar to like when you're a kid, you get in trouble, you go to the corner of the room, right? Well, if you pick the wrong team, we put you in the corner. Now where we all are sitting is where our 1894 club sits. They are our loudest, our craziest fans. Once you start the chants, start the cheers, things like that. We do that on purpose to drown out all the away noise. Now when we're facing United, it's quite easy to drown out the away noise. We're up 3-0 at halftime anyway, so it's, you know, there's only 10 fans left. But it's even easier when we face Arsenal because they waste so much time that they didn't even make it to the game on time. Now, in between your second and third tier on your right-hand side here, you guys see those glass doors and windows that last the entire length over there. Those are our corporate hospitality boxes. So boxes that the players and our sponsors can rent out, have a more private experience. It's a lot quieter. You get a meal with the match, everything like that. He rents out a box. It's all the way at the end over there underneath that Made in Manchester sign. Pep Guardiola also rents out a box. He's on the other side though, underneath where it says hello, hello. So oftentimes you'll see Pep cheers in that direction. Maybe he starts blowing kisses. He's not blowing kisses to the fans. He does love the fans, but he loves his wife more. Which, understandable, right? Happy wife, happy life. So the last 2 things that I like to point out. So that green and white shoebox all the way at the end over there. No, that is not the shoebox that Erling Haaland's boots come in. That is our sensory suite. So that is a completely soundproof room. So our fans who may be living with ADHD, autism, Down syndrome, they can purchase a ticket there, where if they get overstimulated by all the noise that happens, it's a much more private, much more quiet environment. So we do want everybody to enjoy football here at the Etihad, regardless of what condition they may be living with. Because in addition to that, we have 199 physical disability spaces. Like we have some right behind you there, those like kind of segmented seats. So we want everybody to be welcome here and to enjoy the match. And the last thing I like to point out is those dark navy blue seats right on the halfway line. Those are seats for our Tunnel Club. Now we're going to be going to the Tunnel Club in just a little bit, so I'll talk about it when we get there. But it's a nice heated seat. It's right on the halfway line. Can't really see the seat when you are in the Tunnel Club, so I like to point it out here. So that's a quick little visual tour. I know I threw a lot at you. Anybody have any questions or anybody see anything they want to know more about? No? All right. So we're going to be following the players' footsteps throughout this tour today. Starting off, like I said, with the Tunnel Club. So if you want to follow Harry up the stairs here, we're head on over.
Sorry, mate. Is this natural turf or artificial?
The pitch is 95% real grass, 5% synthetic.
Thank you, mate. Yeah, thank you, mate.
Is it another group now? Come on, baby.
Keep on. Aren't you? Do the hand shot.
Guys, we're now starting the stadium tour. We've had a brief history of the stadium. Now we're on the rail tour now.
Welcome everybody. Take a seat in the blue benches on both sides. Come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Alright everybody, so welcome to the Tunnel Club. It's pretty nice in here, right? Quite fancy. You would enjoy a meal in here? Well, this is one of our premier hospitality experiences that, to our knowledge, Brighton is the only other club that does something remotely similar. So I'll give you a little background of the player schedule. So they all meet at the CFA across the street. That's the City Football Academy. A lot of you will be heading in just a little bit. But they all meet over there. They do whatever training, whatever preparation they need over there. And then about 90 minutes before kickoff, they'll take the team bus across the street where they'll park just outside where that badge is. And now there are thousands of fans outside to welcome the players there. Does anybody have the opportunity to greet the players outside? It's really cool, right? Well, if you haven't, I highly recommend going at some point because A, it's a fun time. You have the DJs out there, performers, Moonchester and Moonbeam would be out there. You know, they got confetti going off. Sometimes they do pyrotechnics for a late night game. And then B, it's totally free. You don't even need a ticket to the game to greet the players out there. When Pep first came here, he saw they started to get a distance from the players and the fans. Because now players are more or less hidden from the fans, kept in secrecy, but Pep wanted to keep that unification with City fans. And so they came up with this idea to have a chance to get right close to the players. But the players will get off the team bus out there, come right through these doors here, along this gold line, and down the stairs to the home team changing room. And everybody here in the Tunnel Club lines up in 2 lines, so much like an honor guard, where they get to greet the players, give them a nice warm welcome, give them high fives, fist bumps, everything. Well, that's kind of the idea behind it, boosting up psychologically the Manchester City team. Because we want them to know the fans are here, the fans are welcome, so they do have a great performance out on the pitch. And, like I said, football players are starting to become more or less celebrities, VIPs at this point. So we do want to give them the VIP experience, and we roll out this beautiful carpet for them, so that they have that true VIP experience. Now, what color carpet is a VIP carpet? Red. Blue, absolutely. Don't let Hollywood fool you. VIP carpets are not red. They are blue. We try to limit the amount of red that's in this stadium. In fact, there's only 3 things that are red. First is the fire extinguishers. It's a legal requirement. We have to keep them. But we are working with the city council, trying to change them to silver. Second is the tomato ketchup, which, believe it or not, we used to have blue ketchup. It didn't look very good on the chips though, and tasted even worse. So we switched back to the original red. And then finally is red wine. I think there'd be a fan revolt if we got rid of red wine, so I guess we have to keep that for now. But there's a lot of youngins here. Let's get our science kits out. We'll genetically modify grapes to be blue, right? Can we get that happen? Anything's possible with science nowadays, right? But yeah, the players come on in here, nice blue carpet as they head down the stairs to the home team changing room. So there's a lot of psychology that goes into the stadium, either boosting up Manchester City or knocking down the away team. Now, we're not cruel. We get treated the same way when we visit other stadiums as well, because everybody, of course, you want to win at home. You want to make your fans happy. And in the Premier League, at least, the difference in talent on the pitch is more or less negligible. So, if you can get a slight advantage psychologically, you're going to take it. Now, this side of the stadium is called the Colin Bell side. Anybody happen to see Colin Bell play? Anybody happen to know who Colin Bell is? Fantastic player, right? So, people who got to see him play often describe him as Phil Foden and Kevin De Bruyne combined. Obviously, those are 2 legendary players in themselves, but combine them, obviously get somebody even better. Colin Bell did play for us in the 60s and 70s, and it was part of what we call our first golden era. We do have a statue of him outside. He is the man on the right with Francis Lee and Mike Summersby. Those 3 were kind of the leaders of that team. Now, Colin Bell probably is considered our most legendary player. He made about 500 appearances for us, and his nickname was the King. And he hated that nickname, which is why he is on the right-hand side and he is not front and center. So a lot of people do ask him, who's your most legendary player? You put him front and center, right? Well, he hated that nickname. He was not that front and center type of leader. He was not that raw in front of the team. He was more put his arm around somebody, motivate them one-to-one, kind of that behind-the-scenes leader. So we do want to honor him, of course. So that's why we have a statue of him. But we also honored his respect. Didn't put him front and center. Now this side of the stadium, like I said, is named after him. And when we opened the stadium, we did a fan poll on which player they wanted to name this side of the stadium after. And 95% of respondents voted for Colin Bell. That's how beloved of a player that he was, and how legendary of a player he was. Unfortunately, he has since passed, so we do need to keep his legacy alive, obviously with the statue at the side of the stadium. And now we got a whole bunch of youngins here who can go look up Colin Bell, right? And you may remember there was a kit that it was obviously sky blue, but it had like that red and white collar and on the sleeves. That was for Colin Bell. If you look on the inside of those, there's a little crown on the inside, signifying the king. So if you happen to have, anybody wearing one of them now? No, I don't see it. But if you happen to have one of those, take a look on the inside of that for that little crown there. So does anybody happen to have any questions in here? No? Oh, there's usually one question people ask about how to get in here. No one's concerned about that? No? That's fair. I mean, when you walk through the doors, they're going to ask you for a ticket. But, no, I like that. Thank you. So, it is a little pricey to go in here. Now, we have a tier system for games. So, some of the smaller games, you know, we had Ipswich here, Wolves, when Man United come by, those small games. It's a little bit cheaper, can get around 500, 600 pounds, obviously, again, depending on the game, it kind of varies. The larger games, it can get up to 900, 1,000 pounds, somewhere around there. Please don't quote me, they truly change every single game, so I can't keep track of the price. But outside, totally free. So I'll be outside, you know, if that's more your speed, I'll meet you out there. But, you know, if somebody, you know, grandpa's turning 75, celebrating 50th wedding anniversary, may be worth doing it at some point. All right? Any other questions? So we're going to head on to our first team area. Right on in. Feel free, you can take as many photos as you like. Sit in the lockers just as you leave the shirts hanging where they are.
Some are on here, some on here. Integrated for the Man City. Team members.
Sit on the greenish chair then.
This seems to be the favorite of everyone, guys. Right inside the changing room of Man City, guys. That's how I have and seats.
All right, everybody. So you look around this room here, you see a lot of legendary players, right? Who do you think is probably one of the greatest players right now? I'd argue there's somebody else. Rodri, our Ballon d'Or winner, right? Just like the mitochondria, he's the powerhouse of the cell. Welcome to the home team changing room here. So there's one very unique feature with this changing room that you typically don't see in changing rooms around the UK or Europe for that matter. Anyone want to point it out? Circular, yes. Is that what you're going to say? No. That's okay though. I'm sure you would have gotten there too. But yeah, so the way that we got a circular changing room was back when Pep was first hired. He did a tour of the United States. Specifically, he went to MetLife Stadium, which is just outside of New York City, where the New York Jets play in the NFL. So the Jets have a circular locker room, and he thought if it works for 125 players for the Jets, it could also work for 25 players here in Manchester City. And also, the World Cup Final 2026 will be at MetLife Stadium. So when it's the United States versus England in the finals, United States, we get the round locker room. I'm calling it now. I can be hopeful, right? Yes, so that we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. And that's what Pep does, want everybody to be one family, to the point where English is the only language that is spoken in this room. Because he wants to make sure if somebody doesn't know, say, Portuguese, they're not left out of that conversation. That's why, Pep, you look around, you have very few instances of where people are, they're from the same country, or they played in the same team together previously. Pep doesn't assign the seats anymore, but he used to assign individual seats And because of that, it is still lingered to this day, where you're not forming those cliques and kind of forming those kind of country, partnerships, whatever you want to call it. So on a match day, the players are going to come in here. They're going to have their kit set up, ready to go for them on their benches and hanging up on the hooks. Now, they're going to have, in addition to their warm-up and their training equipment, they're going to have 2 game day ready shirts. They're going to have their shorts, socks, shin pads, and boots. Now 2 game day ready shirts. Why do you think they need 2 shirts? Well, not necessarily away at home, because they only have the home kit in here, right? You got it? Potentially each half. So if they want to change it at halftime, they can. And it does rain a lot here in Manchester, so sometimes their shirt gets real heavy with the rain. So they may change it at halftime. You got one as well? Yeah. Maybe not dirty, they may, but if it gets blood on it, which I think that's where you're heading, right? So if it gets blood on it or if it gets torn, then they are required to change it. And you can feel the shirts behind you there. They're super thin materials, so they often get torn a lot. They're not game worn shirts, but they are the same material. As they could be game worn, they won't though, they're just for tours. But after the game, because obviously they're not going to change their shirt for every single game, it's totally up to the players what they do with it. Some common things that we see, they may swap it with a player from the opposing team. Out of common respect. They may throw it out into the crowd or give it to a fan, but a lot of them also will sign it and donate it to charity. Whatever charity they choose. Or if they really want to, they can bring it home with them. Sergio Aguero was known for bringing home his shirt after every time he scored a hat trick. So he's got a stack of shirts in his office, does nothing with them, but he's got them. So it's his prerogative. Now, we do a lot of winning here in Manchester City, and so getting 2 game day ready shirts for every single player, every single game, home and away, it's a lot of shirts to go through, right? Went through just about 3,000 shirts for the men's first team alone this past season. It's quite a lot. Now, their shorts and their socks, those do get laundered, used game in and game out, as long as they're not stained, torn, anything like that. Now there's one piece of equipment that players are allowed to completely customize any way they want. And the league, the team, a company, nobody can tell them how to customize it. What is that? We'll go over here. Not necessarily their shoes, because if you sign a deal with, say, Nike, they have certain styles to choose from, certain colors. So it's like 99% customizable. So you're right on track, but shin pads. Yes, is that what you were going to say too? I mean, I haven't heard of a deal from Calvin Klein, but that's right around the corner, right? Maybe. But their shin pads, completely customizable. They can do it any way they would like. Now, we have some players who like to put their home country's flag on their shin pads. Reminds them of their roots, their heritage, everything like that. Some of them will put a picture of their family on their shin pads. I think that one's a little weird because then your family's getting kicked all the game. But the 2 that I really like to highlight first is Jack Grealish here. So Jack Grealish, a little different this season, but I can tell you for last season, he wore shin pads, even though a lot of people claim that he didn't. They were just about the size of this card here. Super, super tiny. What he would do is he would go to Tesco, Poundland, any kind of convenience store like that, and you buy a makeup sponge. He'd put medical tape around it, and he'd put it right on his shin. Don't know what kind of coverage that provides. Somebody making that much money should probably take better care of their shins, but I'm not the coach. So the other one I like to highlight is Kyle Walker. So Kyle Walker got his professional start when he was 14 years old with Sheffield United. Before his first game, parents gave him a new pair of shin pads saying, "Oh, we're so proud of you. Here, here's a new pair of shin pads, but you have to take care of these." And to this day, 20 years later, because he turned 34 earlier this year, he's wearing the same shin pads. He wears them for every single Manchester City game. When he was playing for England in the Euros, he was also wearing those shin pads as well. He's very superstitious, doesn't want to lose those shin pads, but if he ever does, all he has to do is kind of, they're over there. They smell awful. Imagine your shin pads, you probably just throw them in your bag, right? You never clean them, all that dirt and sweat get on them. Yeah, imagine 20 years of that. They're disgusting. But it's working for him, and that's what he likes. Now after the game, the players will come in here. Of course, they start celebrating because Manchester City just won, right? But then they head behind this wall here, where they have the showers, and we have 2 hydrotherapy pools. A cold one that's set at 12 degrees Celsius, and a warm one that's set at 27 degrees Celsius. To help that rehab process. They go in the cold first, then they go in the warm. Help that rehab process. They're going to be playing in the next 3 to 4 days, right? So we want to rehab as quickly as we can. But then they gather all of their belongings, and then they head through the media zone, and then they're good to head home for the day. So there's a little insight of what happens in here. Does anybody have any questions? Well, I've got a question for you all. Number 21, Bunny here. Who is that? What's that? Anyone have a guess who Bunny is?
Khadija.
It's not Cole Palmer.
Is it Khadija? No?
Khadija, yes, Khadija Shaw. She is one of our players for our women's team. She does professionally go by as Bunny Shaw, which is why Bunny is on the back of her shirt. But you're right, her name is Khadija. We hang her up in here because A, she won the Golden Boot last year for the Women's Super League and also the Player of the Year. But our women are going to be playing 3 games here in the Etihad this year. Typically they play in Joy Stadium, which is just across the street. We are the only Premier League team that has a dedicated stadium just for the women's team. But there's sometimes 7,000 seats over there, so sometimes we need a little bit more space. So we'll come over here for United, Chelsea, and Tottenham this year. So if you're interested in coming on by, it's much more family friendly. You don't have those people, oh, you silly, silly person, and boo, because that's as vulgar as it gets, right? So I highly recommend heading to a women's game. Last year, the women's team did get second in the Super League. They were tied on points to Chelsea, but unfortunately lost due to goal differential. So we're hoping that Bunny Shaw, Alex Greenwood, Chloe Kelly, all of them are able to help us get back on top and win the Super League this year. Is that a question, or are you just feeling? All right.
Guys wanted to see the pool. Everyone is peeping to see the
Yeah, I wish we could take people in there, but it's all sanitized and they're empty right now, actually. So they're not gonna see much.
Yeah.
So welcome to the tunnel. So this is the last space that both teams can line up in as they're about to head to the pitch and be as one cohesive team. Now there's a lot of psychology that goes into this space as well. Where you all are standing is where Manchester City lines up, and it's quite roomy. We're much bigger than the men's first team, and so there's plenty of space that you can kind of be comfortable in, right? And in comparison, that's the away team side. There is no space for them to line up in. Plus, they come out of the away team changing room, which is behind me here. They see this ginormous badge on who they're about to lose to. Then they see the winners of the Champions League photo. At that point, they're demoralized. They know they're going to lose anyway, right? So why even try? But I do like to highlight this photo here because it kind of gives a little insight into Pep's psychology. So the first photo that went up after we won in Istanbul was a picture of Phil Foden with the Champions League trophy. And Pep saw that and he demanded it come down immediately. Not because Pep doesn't like Phil, definitely loves Phil, but Pep wanted this photo up because there's a lot of faces in here that you recognize, a lot of faces you don't recognize. He's got everybody in the first team in there, plus all of the background staff. So nutritionists, physiotherapists, security detail, event managers, operation teams, anyone you can imagine except for tour guides. Maybe we'll make the photo this year, we'll see what happens. Pep wants to highlight all of those people because he recognizes that they're doing tremendous work, and because of their tremendous work is why the first team is able to be so successful. I feel like the kit managers, if they don't have the kits ready to go, they cannot go out on the pitch in the same uniform, and therefore they cannot play. So they're absolutely essential. So Pep likes to show off that not only do we have the best team in the world, we have the best background staff in the world. So we're about to head down to pitch side, and I have to emphasize it is pitch side. We cannot go on the pitch. It is a fire hazard to go on the pitch, and what I mean by that is if you go on the pitch, Harry and I get fired, and then we have to do tours at Old Trafford. Nobody wants to do that, right? So there's a large blue area. Just actually stay in the blue area. You can sit in the dugout seats, not a problem at all. Just cannot go on the pitch. So Manchester City always goes down on the left, and then the losing team, the away team, goes down on the right. So you can choose whichever side you like, and if you'd like to follow me down, let's head pitch side.
That feeling,
What's that?
lovely feeling, just the doors opening and
Absolutely. Specifically that first seat, the front row next to the stairs, Pep Guardiola's seat. That's where you can sit and take a spinning from the home. If you have any questions, you're free to come up to
guys, this is where Pep Guardiola sits during the matches. The first seat on the home team side. Sorry mate, could you please explain to me what's happening right now?
With the lights,
with all the lights
the
and...
light is the 2000 watt LED bulbs, and all they're doing at the moment is they help the pitch to grow.
Yeah.
Some people think that they dry the pitch out, and some people think that they produce heat. They don't really produce much heat. It's mainly the importance of there being light to help the grass grow. That's what the lights on the pitch. Yeah. These big fans that you can see on the side, they're to help replicate the airflow throughout the stadium, because obviously we're below the ground, so that's really, really important. Okay, Bob?
That's good. Cheers, mate.
like 5 million. All right, everybody. So welcome to the mixed media zone. So this is where the players get interviewed. Now when we pass through, they probably saw, that's where they do the quick interviews over as we were walking down that hallway. That's that you know, at halftime or right after the game ends, you just grab somebody. Like, hey, you scored a hat trick. Like, tell me, like, what happened? Where here you get a little bit more in depth, a little bit more like detail. This is where the players are exiting the stadium. So you know, they've had their chance to meet as a team in the changing room, and they have a little bit more time to think about what happened. Where you all are is where the players will walk through, and then where I am is where all of the media will be. Newspaper, TV, radio, social media even, they all will be over here. Now every player is required to answer at least one question on their way out. That's just in their contract. Now it can be super, super simple, of like, oh, hey, you scored a hat trick today. How do you feel?
Good.
Good. That's it. You have fulfilled your contract. Great job. Now, we have some players who like to talk a little bit more. They may talk to 2 or 3 other reporters. Jack Grealish in particular, any chance he gets it, to talk about himself, he's going to take it. So he'll talk a little bit longer there. Now, the players, like I said, they all meet over at the academy. And so they have all of their cars over there, they park, and then somebody's job throughout the game is to bring their cars over here to the stadium so that the players can leave, right as soon as they exit the stadium. So if you ever fancy driving, you know, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Rolls Royces, you know, you can sign up for that job. Personally, I don't want to do it, so it's all yours. You know, you have to think that you have to go to Erling Haaland and be like, oh, sorry, man, I destroyed your headlight. But Erling usually typically just goes, it's okay, I'll buy a new one tomorrow. A new Rolls Royce, not a headlight, completely new. Now there's one car that I really like to highlight, because I don't know, I just think it's a cool story. Does anybody know what Pep Guardiola drives? Not a Mercedes. Any other guesses? Not a McLaren? Was that? An Uber? No. That would be very funny if you get into an Uber and it's Pep Guardiola. No, he makes a lot of money. He doesn't need an Uber. He drives a Nissan Leaf. It's a very simple car. Him and his wife very much live below their means. They don't like the whole fancy everything like that. And most days, in the summer at least, Pep bikes to work. He's just very, very chill, very relaxed. He doesn't want to have that big, fancy, luxurious lifestyle. Now, you've got Phil Foden, he's got his black Lamborghini. Erling Haaland's got a gray Rolls Royce. There's a lot of fancy cars over there. But, yeah, Pep's is a nice, simple Nissan Leaf. Some of the players, as they're leaving, they do have to answer at least one question. Some of them don't like talking to the media, though. David Silva, does anybody remember him? Great player for us. He was very notorious for not liking to talk to the media. He had a few tactics to avoid the media when he walked through here. One way, he had just miraculously, every time he walked through that door there, he'd get a phone call. And then he'd walk through, sorry, I'm on the phone, can't. And then as soon as he walked through those gray doors over there, the phone call ended. Miraculously. Every single time, like clockwork. Now the other way, he would, remember Yaya Toure? Seemed like he was like 9'6" or whatever. He would hide behind Yaya and just slowly creep behind. Sorry, nobody asked me a question, so therefore I couldn't answer any of them. It's okay if a couple players don't talk to the media, but if it becomes a habit, if a lot of players are doing it, then the club can get fined, and then we'll come down on the players there. Now, you see these sponsors behind us here. So you've got the Etihad, Puma, Asahi. These are all our Premier League sponsors. When we host Champions League games, all of this changes. Because Etihad is not a sponsor of UEFA. Neither is Puma. So we can't have those up there. And even to the point, what stadium are we? We're the Etihad Stadium, right? If Etihad's not a sponsor, we can't be called the Etihad Stadium. For a Champions League game, we are the City of Manchester Stadium. So it's kind of cool to see all the conversion come through, all the UEFA sponsors go up, and even to the point where you probably have seen a few TVs around on the tour. All of our TVs are LG. not a sponsor of UEFA. So somebody's job is to go around covering all the LG logos on every single TV. It's quite a hassle. And then, of course, we run into a situation where we're playing Champions League on Wednesday, and then on Saturday, we're back to the Premier League, where all of this has to go back up. So it's quite an interesting turnaround. If you ever next time you see a Champions League game on TV, take a look. You'll notice that all of these are different, and you won't see Etihad anywhere. All right. Anybody happen to have any questions? What's that? What's that? How did they get here? Who's that? How does he get here, like, after the game? So the same way that we took, so you know, we go from pitch side, and then he came around this corner here. Jack Grealish takes the exact same. He walks right where you are. It's kind of cool, right? Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
Would all the seats be filled with a launch player?
Yes. So a lot of people call us the Etihad, which is false. We actually have the highest percentage of tickets sold in the Premier League this year. So anybody who's saying that we don't sell out, we don't have fans, well, it's the Uniteds that aren't selling out. It's the Tottenhams that aren't selling out. Now, there's been a couple games where we haven't sold out entirely. The only time that we haven't sold out, though, is the away section. The away section is not always full. Like when we faced Sparta, I think they only sold like half of their tickets. I mean, it makes sense. It's kind of far. But yeah, even in the Premier League, there's only been, I don't know if there's been any sellouts in the away section yet. So, you know, you can blame all the away fans for the reason why we're not at 100%, right? Any other questions? I love this. Yeah.
What number are we in the league?
What number are we in the league? We're first? Yeah. All right. So, like I said, this is where the players all get interviewed. Behind this wall here is where the managers get interviewed, and we're about to head on into. So I hope you all have your reporter hats on, because that's where the reporters are sitting. They're all out here to ask Pep and the away manager questions about what's going on. So you all got your questions ready? Because Harry here was able to get a guest for you all. He's very well connected amongst the club. Got your questions ready? So we need somebody to ask those questions to, right? Let's see. You want to take a look up at the screens? Let's see who Harry was able to get. It's Pep! Mr. Guardiola himself. So, some of you may not know about Pep. He is a super patient person, and he loves taking photos with fans. So he's going to sit there all day for us.
guys, I'm just leaving the Manchester City store. That's how I'm ending my day here. It has been a very successful day, a dream come true, and definitely time well spent. So please continue subscribing to the channel, like the video, leave a comment, give me more reason to go out there and bring you some more content. From John Daniels 254, it's a wrap. See you in the next one. Bye.